Hi, welcome everyone. This is the module 7 of the CEH course that we have been doing, and welcome you all after such a long break. So, this module that we are going to discuss today is on malware threats. So, the objectives of this particular sessions are that the participants who are attending it would actually be able to explain, understand malware propagation techniques. First, understand about malware and their propagation techniques. Then among the malware, what are Trojans? How do they work? Then what are the viruses and what are their types and how do they work? Then we will understand the worms. What is the difference between a virus and a worm? We would also discuss the process on malware analysis, the detection technique, and then countermeasures and how we can employ them in under penetration testing. So these are the topics that we are going to discuss. So we'll discuss a little bit of intro on malware, the Trojan concepts, virus and worm concepts, some points on malware reverse engineering, how we detect malwares, the countermeasures, some of the anti malware software, then pen testing. So any software that has like malicious intentions, majorly to damage or disable a computer system, which gives a little bit of control, sometimes little bit and sometimes more control to the creator, the one who perpetrates it. There are majorly two, objectives. Creator usually tries to do a theft, or it wants to create a fraud. Some of the examples, some Trojan horses, and there is a very good story in the guide itself. If you would heard about the Greeks, and what happened is you know out of the two participants in a war, one side actually brings in a horse which is made of a wood, and they hide soldiers inside it and they leave it. The other side thinks that that particular horse is like a gift and the enemy has left, and they take the horse inside the boundaries, and then during night and during that period when everyone was sleeping, these soldiers get out of that wooden horse and they try to win a war. They create havoc inside the city. So just have a read in that. So that has a similar concept here about the Trojan horse we will discuss. Then virus, backdoor worms, rootkit, ransomware, botnet, and so all of these examples are malware on a broad basis. So how do they get into systems? So when we have instant messenger applications, we have internet relay chats, some of the removable devices like USB or an external hard drive and all. Then we have emails, and they have the attachments, or sometimes even a legitimate software can be used by a disgruntled employee to uh, you know to put malware inside it. Some browser and email software bugs, if they are there, then because taking that particular root or vulnerability, they can get into a system. Then we through file shares in NetBIOS. Sometimes there are some fake programs also. So if people download them, then it gets into the systems. Then there are times when we keep downloading some freeware software from untrusted sites. We try to download games, screensavers, and all. So these are the ways they get into the system. And how hackers use it? They usually use it, to replace systems critical files, basically to generate denial of service attacks. And if it infects a very system critical file, and because of it the other features in a particular system cannot work, and it is quite hidden, then that particular system can become part of a botnet. Okay. Then the purpose can be to record screenshots, audios, and video of a target computer. Okay. And sometimes to disturb a particular user by spamming or blasting email messages. Then, if someone is downloading spyware, adware, and malicious files with an intention of removing them actually, but in turn they get the malware. Then, disable firewalls and antivirus software is one of the major objectives of hackers, so that they can take subsequent steps, okay, and get into entry into a system. Then, by creating backdoors for remote access, okay, they also can use proxy servers for in relay attacks to infect a target computer, and also that I told you, like creating a computer a part of a botnet, that can also be done. Then usually the theft, which is the major, sometimes like any major espionage which is going on inside the world, and it is quite considered legal. So because there is no international law against it, and it is acceptable. Okay, so then including passwords, security codes, credit card information, and all, using keyloggers are some of these ways by hackers use Trojans. Some common techniques and attackers use to distribute these on web. So there is a black hat search engine optimization, a complete search engine where you can go and find out like where the malware, a particular malware is ranking, like how it is performing in the search results. Then they can be distributed using advertisements as part, because they are legally be shown on PCs and on browsers. So, but it is called malvertising. So, if there is a malware which is embedded inside an advertisement, that is called malvertising. Then, inside the networks which appear on such legitimate sites, that also can be there. Then we have some legitimate sites also. If they are compromised, and someone even just by visiting those sites can get infected. Okay. And then other things are like by doing a spear phishing or very targeted social engineering attack, or by using click jacking. Like when a user wants to click on a page, but he actually clicks on a different portion of the page, and that in turn results into malware installations. Okay. Then some of the drive-by downloads. Say some shared drive is there, and the trust is established between the users, and then they download it without actually scanning or verifying it. From there also can be distributed, and attackers use these methods. And there are some times when you actually exploit the flaws in the browser software to install a malware just by visiting a web page. Some of the types of Trojans that are there, it's like VNC Trojan, so HTTP Trojan. So basically, this particular classification is given by some unique feature that they have. Either some kind of a tool that is being used to distribute a Trojan, then it has become a type, or it is based on a protocol. Okay, or there is some additional feature like some data hiding or destructive. Then these types have been given, and they have been classified like this. So we have ICMP, data hiding, destructive, HTTPS, botnet, proxy server, okay, remote access Trojans, FTP, if it's related to downloading files and all those things. Then if there are some Trojans which can deface a website, then they are called defacement Trojan. It's not even only website, but there are some software also that can be defaced. Then if there are Trojans that are related to theft related to banking or e-banking, they are classified as e-banking Trojans. Then mobile and command shell Trojans, similar in a similar way. So I'm just going to scroll because this chapter is very big. So I'm going to just give you some keywords, and will pause my screen on the details of these definitions, subsequent definitions. These have been extracted from the guide itself. So on the Trojans, I'll do that, and on the viruses, you will have to probably go through yourself. I'll just list it down, and then because in this same session, I want to cover some steps of doing an analysis on a malware, because it's more of the theory. Some of the portion in this particular lecture you will not be able to try it yourself, so please access some kind of a VM, and then ask the access from Vikas, so that he can actually let you try these things inside a controlled and isolated environment. But if you try to install these kind of software by yourself, then it might create destruction in the systems that you are using yourself. So I would like to, and as a part of lab, rather than covering, the topics which are quite simple about installing and going through the menu of the software. Other than that, I will just rather than that, I'll just give you a demo wherein we'll use a tool called volatility to see how actually it is done and how to do process scans in a memory dump and all that. Just to give you an overview. Okay, so we have command shell trojans. Okay, these trojans help us gaining a command shell over a target computer. Okay, they can be distributed, they can be created by any of the tools or kits that are there that we will discuss later. Then we have VNC trojans, which are quite easy to be believed on. Okay, attackers actually connect to the target using VNC viewer, and they are difficult to be detected. One example is Hesperbot, okay, which features common functionalities including keystroke logging, creation of screenshots, video capturing. Okay, then you can configure proxies also, okay, by creating a VNC server for the attacker to connect to target remotely. VNC does not log of the user like it happens in the case of RDP. Therefore, attacker can connect to the target computer while using user is working also. Okay. Then we have defacement trojans. Okay. They just basically, if you have a menu, dialog box, or an icon, these trojans actually deface them by extracting some of or by replacing the images and icons. Then we have proxy server trojans, wherein proxy, I hope you know proxy. It's a standalone application that can allow a remote attacker to use target computer as a proxy to the internet. Okay, it's basically when you actually infect a computer, a hidden server is started, a lightweight server, and then that can be used to target other systems on the network or probably on the internet. Okay. Then we have botnet trojans. So what is happening these days is like people are making use of botnets to either create denial of service or for creating or for mining bitcoins. So, but they want to use that computing power which can be freely available for them. Okay. Some of the examples are given on this screen. So we have Skynet, then CyberGate Rat, and CyberGate Ripper. Oh, I think I've posted it again. So it was built to be a tool for various possible applications, ranging from assisting users with routine maintenance tasks to remotely monitoring children. But it was created with good intentions, but then attackers can use it for themselves because it gives some of the other benefit on the data and on snooping and collecting information. Then FTP Trojans are there. Similarly, there's a very funny name, Trojan Creator, Web Proxy Trojan Creator. Okay, it actually supports multi connections from clients. So there can be multiple remote addresses which can connect to a target. Okay. Then even we think that HTTPS is quite secure and it can actually secure the data while it is even while it is in transit. Okay, between a client and a server. So and this particular Trojan, which is related to HTTPS, can be wrapped in a legitimate program, as others can be. Okay. Then we have HTTP Trojan. Then ICMP tunneling, where an attacker can hide data in a protocol that is undetectable. Okay. Usually there are some. That's why some of or most of the people have actually blocked ICMP echo query, and they do not respond. Okay, because the echo request and reply itself can carry a payload. Okay. Then we have remote access tools like Atelier Web Remote Commander. Some of the examples I've given on the screen. Okay. We have Optex Pro, Mosucker, Black Hole Rat, SSH, NJRAT. So these are like names which usually are very free to be kept by others, and they become a brand later. Okay. This kind of software also can be bought very cheaply on the internet. So if say if there are users who have malicious intentions, then they can have access to these kind of tools to basically control the computer. So because like something like remote access Trojan can actually work like just similar to the remote desktop access that we have. We must have used RDP connections to Windows servers and all those things. Okay. Then we have e-banking Trojans. So what usually happens is that whenever some secure transaction happens between a user and the bank, okay, it usually is carried on a protocol which is secure, let's say HTTPS, and the data is encrypted. But before even it is encrypted, the target computer is infected, that information can be stolen, and then it is sent over the wire in an encrypted form. So e-banking Trojans steal data in that manner, and credit card information also can be transmitted using email, FTP, IRC, or other methods. Then you have covert tunneling tools. Okay, there are many exploitation techniques which can be used in this. Okay, and these kind of data streams are authorized by a network control system. Okay, then using these CCTTs, you can actually set a TCP, UDP, HTTP connect and post channels for permitting the TCP data streams, as such as SSH, SMTP, POP. I hope you remember all of these ports and services that we discussed in our previous sessions. So try to relate it with that. So say if you want to disturb a user as an attacker, then you can make use of Hellraiser Rat. So what you would do is like you can send pictures, pop-ups, and you must have seen it in movies, right? So if you want to just create some kind of disruption in user activity on the screen, then you can actually bombard these things to the user if you are able to infect it with Hellraiser Rat. Then some of the e-banking Trojans you would have seen like TAN grabber or HTML injection. So they work in their own particular way. Okay. So basically, when you create a transaction and it has a transaction reference number, right? So you attacker what does is like it creates a random some number which can be rejected by the bank, and it forces the user to actually enter the details again to some kind of a spoof page. Okay. Then you have some destructive Trojans. Similarly, you have e-banking Trojans like Zeus and SpyEye. Then data hiding Trojans. I think these 2 points are about ransomwares, right? So it's like what ransomware does is like it encrypts the files on the drive which it has access to, and then demands money for it. So, but there has to be some kind of a legible channel for the money to go. So people are making use of Bitcoin because by inside this blockchain mechanism of doing transactions over the internet, it is very difficult for anybody to detect a real user behind it. Okay. Then you have notification Trojans. Okay, so how these Trojans actually infect systems? These points are similar to the ones that we discussed about malwares. Okay, but a new Trojan packet, create a new Trojan packet using a Trojan horse construction kit. Then you basically have a dropper, which is part of a Trojanized packet that installs the malicious code on the target computer. And then you create a wrapper using some kind of a wrapper tool to install it, and then it propagates. Propagates means it gets distributed on different systems, and then then it executes the dropper. So what it does, like execute the damaging program and routine. So any major Trojan attack paths that are there, using the user clicks on the malicious links, then user opens malicious emails or attachments. These are the ways because of which it can get executed. So by executed means it starts running on the target system. So then to basically hide themselves, like viruses or keyloggers, from the detection by the antiviruses, cryptors are used. Okay, so it can actually encrypt and manipulate the malware. Also, it can obfuscate the actual code. So it becomes really, really very difficult for the security programs to detect these things. And it would appear as if it is quite harmless. And there are some steps that you can take while creating a Trojan or a hardware, so that makes it undetectable by the antivirus programs. I hope you know that these engines actually run based on some rules, and these rules should already exist. And these rules can exist only if Trojan has been discovered and open, and it has been reported and disclosed in some kind of a disclosure, and people know about it. Only then someone has analyzed and reported, and from that report some rules are created, and then they are put in the scanners and the antivirus engines. Okay, uh, attackers also make use of wrappers. So it basically binds a Trojan executable with an exe application in a application which appears to be a game or an office application. Okay, two programs also can be wrapped together in a single file. So if you just have a look at the documentation of MS Venom, and MS Venom, you can actually put two programs into a single wrapper. Okay, for sending in a payload to the target. So some of the crypto examples, the favorite of everyone is MS Venom, MSF Venom. Then some of the other tools that you might find, and these cryptos are there. So basically, there are two types, like static or statistical cryptors and polymorphic cryptors. So I'll just pause the screen here for a little while so that you can read it later. And these cryptors are available online, between $10 to $100 as per the budgets. So how these things are created? Like you basically have an exploit kit. It's like a crimeware toolkit which will help you deliver exploits and payloads. So while you are pen testing and you are using Kali or Metasploit, these are some ways in which we are discussing, but they also can be used by the attackers, who have different intentions. So some framework or some collection of tools that is being used to create these malware is called an exploit kit. So some of the examples: Bleeding Life, Crime Pack. So, please read about this in your free time. Okay. Some one name is Phoenix Exploit Kit, Black Hole Exploit Kit, then Infinity. These are some notable points that I'm scrolling through. Okay. So you can use Adobe Flash, then like benign looking softwares and browsers. Okay. That can be used to install threats on the target if you make use of Infinity. So why it is important for you, but why this theory is important for you, so that you are able to detect without using the tools from the behavior of the target system itself. Okay, maybe your mobile is infected, you should be able to detect that some kind of a behavior which is visible to the user, which can be done only manually. That's why we are going through this theory. But I would request you to not to, even if you get access to these tools, try to not use it in a regular PC that you are using. Create an isolated environment in a VM and then try to use it and analyze. So what's a virus? So a program that actually can self-replicate, but it requires usually something, some file or another program to attach itself. Okay, then it can uh, distribute itself, like create its own copy. Okay. So similar mediums like file downloads, removable disk drive, flash drives, email attachments, these are the mediums through which it can be transmitted. Characteristics: it infects the other programs, it alters the data, it can transform itself, it corrupts files and programs, encrypts itself, and replicates. So these are some of the characteristics. Some of the evading techniques. So let's say you are creating a virus, and but you say not creating, but let's say you downloaded a virus from the internet, and then you want to use it, but it won't work. Like it would be easily detected. So if you want to evade an antivirus engine or a detection engine, then you can take these steps. So basically, you have to break the Trojan file into multiple pieces, and then you zip them inside a single zip file. Then always write the Trojans and then embed them into another application. They cannot be like in the open. They should look benign. You can change some syntax also of the code. You can convert the exes to a VB script. You can change the extensions so that Windows has this feature of actually hiding the file extension by default, right? So it can be, some of the techniques like using two dots and two extensions can be used. You can also use a hex editor to change the content inside the code or inside the shell code, basically. So try not to use directly the ones that you want to download, even if you are using it as part of your pen testing. So life cycle of a virus. So there is a design phase, so in which a virus is developed using a program code or a construction kit, and then there's a phase in which it replicates. Okay, then it is launched when it is activated by a user based on some or the other event, and then it is detected, and then it is incorporated. Incorporation means that an antivirus software is continuously getting updated for some new rules, basically to eradicate a virus. And then the last phase of elimination is there. So these threats, the threat of a virus is eliminated again by using an antivirus. So working of a virus. So majorly infection phase and attack phase. In infection phase, it replicates and attaches to the files, not only exe but other files also. And then there is an attack phase, okay, in which in that phase it tries to corrupt the system, and it may infect each time that it is run, because a virus may get triggered when the host file or the program because of which it is actually in which it is actually embedded, based on which it exists, when that is run, and every time whenever it is run, it can infect. Okay, and sometimes people actually schedule it to run on dates, times, and events. So that can also happen with viruses. All of the reasons behind creating the viruses that we have discussed, all of the intentions because of which black hats or other types of hackers who exist, those reasons are there for people to basically design and create these viruses to cause the damage, financial benefits. It may be part of a research project, before playing a trick on other user or destroying something. Maybe it is some doing some activities which is part of cyber terrorism, or if they are basically trying to get attention by way of distributing some political and religious messages. Okay, main intention of these users who have these intention is to get an attention. So they want to basically communicate their messages somehow. Okay, other than playing a trick, there are some bragging rights is the motive behind it, like they want to get praise, so that's why they are doing it. How would you actually understand whether a virus attack is there on your system or not? So you would basically see that there are some unusual and unexpected abnormal activities, processes are taking more time, computer has become unresponsive. Okay, maybe drive labels are getting changed, or your PC is unable to boot. Okay, even while running normal application, if PC is slowing down, these are some of the indications. So some of these can be actually false positives also, and but you need to actually make sure from your side that by doing regular scans that it is not a virus. And sometimes it happens that if one particular antivirus is failing on your PC, then you have to basically use another antivirus. The only thing that you need to take care is that never to use two antiviruses on the same PC. Okay. So if you want to use a second antivirus, then it is best to first uninstall the previous one and then install, because then there will be a fight between both of the antivirus engines for systems and resources, and it will slow the computer, and it will probably freeze it again, and it won't be helpful. So similarly, how do computers become infected with these? Okay. So you same download and running files from untrusted sources, email attachments. So the example that I'm going to show is a email attachment use case. Okay. So people keep operating on systems and applications. If they are not keeping them updated, it can happen. Plugins, uh, plugin ecosystem is quite rich, especially for the developers. So that is also one way of infecting. Okay. So a malware which restricts access to a computer system, to its files, folders, and it demands money is called ransomware. Some of the virus types. Okay, if a virus has infected the system or a boot sector, it is classified as system or a boot sector virus. If it is infecting a file, the medium, right? Based on the medium, the type is mentioned here, and based on some of the features like polymorphic or metamorphic. Okay, and if we are getting a remote shell, then it is called shell. And if a legitimate file is getting overwritten, it is called overwriting file, a virus which is like overwriting a file. And if there are times when you actually have removed the virus itself, but again it stays resident, because it is part of the OS itself. So you might not be completely able to remove it. Okay, so these are the ones that are called TSRs. So you need to be very careful about some hoaxes and fake antiviruses. Let's say you visited a page and it popped up a message saying this particular PC is infected with so and so virus, and try to purchase it or do a free scan and all those things. Please try to be away from that. Okay, so these are some fake programs. You should be aware on these. So what is a worm and how it is different from a virus? So again, like a malicious program that operates across the network connections without the need of human involvement. So what people have done is like they have automated a lot of things. Okay, even the replication and spreading across the network. Again, with same to uh, achieve same objectives that we have discussed above, by consuming the resources, by doing some damage. They try to achieve these objectives. Again, worms can be part of payloads, and they can install backdoors and infect computer system into zombies or botnets. What's the difference? May be important from the exam point of view. So worms self-replicate, virus don't. They require a host for them to replicate. Okay, worms cannot attach themselves to other programs, but viruses can. So worms have file and information transport features to spread through infected networks automatically, but virus cannot. So it is very easy to isolate a virus. Okay, some of the type of worm like ghost eye worm is an example, or you can have a look at an exploit kit called worm maker. Okay, now let's say you are part of the detection team and you do regular scans, but there is a way of doing it. So you basically have a sheep dip computer, okay, which is specially created to analyze malwares. Okay, it has like they have special ports. Now always remember that whatever virus, there are a lot of port numbers and the examples of trojans and viruses given on the guide. Okay, try to notice that they operate on the same legitimate ports on which the legitimate services are running. Okay, so therefore it is very essential for people to create such kind of systems which have these services running, and they look legitimate even to the virus itself. Okay, it has antivirus, same files or network monitors, and then it is in a very very controlled network environment, okay, in a very isolated environment. Then it is actually attached to an antivirus sensor system, and then together with an antivirus system, a sheepdip computer actually helps in doing analysis on a malware. And it might not be possible to analyze real time for everyone until and unless you are using some commercial software or a distributed framework which is there and which is deployed. Okay, so that's why you have to use these in conjunction. So let's discuss malware analysis. So first is that it is prepared by creating a test bed. You isolate a system, then you disable shared on the or the shared location, which is for only the guests to actually have an access to. Then you copy the malware to the guest OS by creating a VM. Okay. Then you can use software such as malware bytes. Why? Because it crushes the malware and restores confidence and helps in doing an analysis review and also sometimes dynamic analysis. So these are some of the steps. So performing static analysis while malware is inactive, collect the information concerning string values found in the binary or a packaging compressing technique. Okay. Then do some set up the network and ensure that there are no errors. Then run the monitors. First run the virus and then the monitor processes and or other actions on system information. Then record the network traffic information and determine which files have been added, which processes have been spawned, which registry changes have been made. Okay. Now here I want to mention that while okay, we'll discuss it in detail, but I want to let you know that even when you have actually detected an attack happening or a particular malware is there as part of your analysis while you are doing pen testing, then don't straightway suggest some kind of a countermeasure and don't isolate that particular system then and there. Okay, try to observe it for some time and just note down that particular observation and report it. Rather than creating a panic about it, it is best to record those information and see it happening so that it can be tried later. Yes, some of the countermeasures can be applied on it, but if you disrupt a particular activity happening in between, then you might lose on some kind of a future information that might be possible at that time for you to understand. Then approaches to reverse engineering malware. Okay, you basically have a reverse engineer. You use a reverse engineering is a specialization in itself, and you use a hex dumper to look into bit patterns. Then you use a disassembler to read executable instructions in text formats, and then you examine the malware's exploitation techniques, at how that particular thing was created. There's a lot of learning in that. Okay, but you need to have a good grasp on assembly language for that, to understand that how these instructions actually are given and can become part of an assembly language. And while doing an analysis, you can look for mistakes in the encryption implementation, look for command and control activity, and then you can do categorization and clustering. Okay. So, if you do an analysis, analyzing just one particular malware might not give you too much of an education. Okay, so it needs to be conducted in bulk so that you are able to understand some kind of a larger pattern and you have a big picture to understand. Okay. So rather than deep diving, it's best to do some kind of an analysis in bulk samples because it takes a lot of time. Okay. So some techniques for analyzing are static, dynamic. Okay. And under static analysis, you actually analyze without running these binaries. So you have access to the source code. Even if you don't have, let's say you have an access to the binary, then you actually disassemble it, decompile it, and look at the source code. Also look at the metadata. That becomes part of your static analysis. But if you are actually using a sandbox environment to execute it, and then you are running automated tools for them to for those tools to scan, okay, then it comes under dynamic analysis. So use manual analysis. Okay, if there are some anti-debugging or anti-analysis techniques or mechanisms that are used inside a malware, then yes, you have to resort to manual analysis. So whenever you download a file from internet, it's not that you just have to correlate it with the actual checksum and then your job is over. So always scan with the help of some tools if they are there with you. Okay. So for doing analysis, you need to have knowledge on assembly language, and you can use tools such as IDA Pro or debuggers like Oli Debugger, Win Debugger. Then you can monitor systems, processes, okay, using Regshot or Process Explorer. You can monitor the network using TCP view, Wireshark, or Packet Identifier. Then some of the packing and packing tools you have to use. So packing tools you might not require until unless you yourself are creating such a software. Okay, and maybe as part of pen testing, someone might require you to actually create it. Okay, so at that time you have to use a packing tool also. Then you can should be able to do binary analysis by using tools such as P Explorer, Malcode Analyst Pack, and then code analysis tools like LOTP and Imprec. How can you detect Trojans? Okay, this we should have covered, as part of that particular topic, Trojans. But I have actually categorized and put them all as one countermeasures. Okay, so some of the anything suspicious on a network, registry, device, your startup programs or open ports, you have to scan them. Okay, manually scanning is very difficult, so it's best to use softwares. Then they can help you detecting the Trojans. Some of the countermeasures that you can take: do not open email attachments, security patches, antivirus scans, or most important is do not ever accept programs such as games and files and things like that in IAMs until unless you actually trust the other party. Okay, then do not blindly just copy programs from the internet and try to use them. Okay, until unless you actually understand what is written there in the code, that is also there. Then your intrusion detection and firewall software should always be updated and run on a regular basis. Okay, ensure that the traffic which is there on usual ports, it's monitored. Unusual ports. Some of the backdoor countermeasures. Okay, most of the time you would find that people are using commercial antivirus software that can help you in detecting it. And yeah, never trust a source until and unless you actually have verified the integrity of the file and all that. Okay, some virus and worm countermeasures, and it's all related to updating the rule engines and taking some precautions while you are using the system. Okay, you can have a look at this. Do disk cleanups, defragmentation, and scan your registries regularly. So always ensure that the firewall is on. Now CDs and DVDs are not there, but most of the time it's not there. But you can ensure that a particular USB also or pen drive which you're using, it's not infected. So that also requires regular scanning. Some of the anti-Trojan software. Okay, I have listed the names. Some of the antivirus tools. You can use multiple two antivirus tools, but please remember that same point that I told you. Don't use them together at the same time. Uninstall one. Because why you can use two antivirus engines? Because there are times when these updates happen based on different release cycles, right? And the rule engines get updated. They might get updated on different dates. So if a virus has been caught by one antivirus, it's not necessary that another antivirus will also catch it. So that's the reason. So, and part of pen testing for Trojans and backdoors, you need to scan open ports, scan processes, scan entries in the registry. Okay. Also, while the installation of drivers was there on the system, at that time also you need to scan. So, scan for Windows services, startup programs, files and folders, scan the network. It's all scanning. Okay, running the Trojan scanners if they are there with you, and then document your findings. And while documenting, even if there is a firm activity that you have observed, it's happening at that time, just note down that observation and inform rather than disrupting it. Then isolating machine from the network. Then once this is done, after that you can update and run the antivirus or another, use one antivirus or another antivirus program. So under pen testing for viruses, you can, it's like testing for suspicious behavior. You basically test whether antivirus is installed and whether it is updated or not, and whether the scanning is enabled or not. Then you scan for running processes. Okay. Then again you scan the changes in the registry, and you also scan for Windows services. You need to check up again startup programs, integrity of files and folders, and OS, any modification if that has happened in the OS files. So when a suspicious activity is found, you need to ensure that a particular antivirus is running a safe mode. And when a virus is found, you need to install a different antivirus program, because in your previous step you actually already installed an antivirus. So if again if a virus is found, then you have to basically use a different antivirus. Then you have to scan it second time, and if required, you have to format and clean the copy of the OS. Then by doing after doing all of this, you have to document all your findings. While doing this, also you can do it. So we have reached the end of this particular these notes. So malware is a malicious software. Again, I'm reiterating for you that disables or damages a computer system. And Trojan is a program that hides. I'll just put on that hides malicious code inside seemingly normal data programming. Okay, data or programming. So a Trojan executable is bound to .exe apps using a wrapper. And usually to create malware, you use exploit or a crimeware kit, which can help you in creating exploits and payloads and deliver them to target system. A virus is a self-replicating program. Uh, wait, what you requires a host. Okay, and a one is more advanced type of virus that does not need to be attached to another file. Okay, viruses are categorized based on what and how they infect. Best defenses against these Trojan viruses: awareness and prevention and scanning. You will be aware only when you keep scanning always. Okay, always use anti-Trojan antivirus tools, and once you identify, then you eliminate the Trojans and viruses. So I have one example. Let me quickly discuss that also. Okay. Yeah. So what happens is that there is a. I'll just show it to you. Wait. There's an employee who's an HR. Okay, and he or she gets a resume of a person and gets a link in the email. I'll just show you that link in the email text which is there. So that email is actually about somebody having a look at the resume. Okay, so this it's I have taken this as an example from HTB. Okay, as one of their challenges. So you can see the text of the email is like, "Hi Frank, someone told me you would be great to review my resume. Could you please have a look?" And then there is a link to for the user to download. This is one of the ways that we discussed email as a way to distribute malwares. Okay. So what happens is that the HTML portion is also given, and the link is actually pointing to some server on the internet and a port, and the complete path is given. Okay. So this should have been detected by the user at the time of receiving this email itself. Say someone is trying to phish me, and if someone would hover the mouse over the email in an HTML text, then where the link is actually pointing to. So this should have raised some kind of a concern. But what user did, as we discussed in one of the events, that can trigger a particular usage of a or running a system and all that. It's like you've downloaded, and then you've actually opened the zip file. So because of these events, a program was able to hook into, and then it was able to spawn a process or a back shell, or some kind of a background process it was able to start. This is only the HTML part of it. Okay. Now, what happens is that if you have monitored an activity, so let's say this particular user was using a VM, and that particular VM was taken for a memory dump. Okay, that happens as regular scanning activity and analysis activity. And whenever some suspicious activity is detected, a dump is created, and then it is sent to the forensic teams to actually analyze these. That what has happened, what is happening, and if you get access to some kind of a malicious file, then please can you extract it from that memory dump. Okay. So what happens is that, let's say a team actually gave you some kind of a memory dump. Okay, it is this kind of file, like it has a .elf extension, and you can actually read some kind of an info that is given off about the dump. Okay, that some suggested profiles, that it is actually the dump is on these kind of architectures. Okay, Win7 SP1 x64 and Service Pack 0 x64, released Windows 2008 release 2 SP0 x64, right? So this dump is created with these profiles. So what a profile means is that if there is a tool with you to do an analysis on a dump, then you can make use of these profiles so that it helps the analysis program such as volatility to look into it. Okay. So let me just so if there is a tool called volatility, if you are able to install it, then it is there available on GitHub. I'll just sharing the link of that. Okay, Volatility Foundation actually is the creator, and you can actually go through these instructions and install it. Okay, and once you run double tag info on it, you will be able to know the information as to for which all profiles it can actually analyze a dump. Okay, so it has like it can do it for Vista, it can do it for Windows 10, then it can do it for Windows 2003, even some XP Service 3 pack if say someone is using very old OSs. Okay, then some of the address spaces that it can look into, and there's some details, some scanning checks that it can do, the plugins that it is making use of. All of this information you will get from Double Tech Info. Okay, let me just zoom in that screen and show it to you. Yeah, this is the command to look into the info. Okay. Okay. Let's analyze this particular file. Okay, I'll just you have to give the profile from the image info itself. We'll choose a profile. Okay, let's choose this one, and we can actually do a process scan on it. Okay. So while when this particular memory dump was created, at that time these were the processes that were running. Okay, I'll just zoom it in. So the processes which were running at that particular time, you can have a look at. See, this is the one which is I'm highlighting. It looks a little suspicious because it does not have a complete name. Okay. See, Thunderbird.ex was running, and it was this second process ID. This is the process ID 2812, and it was running under parent process 2044. Okay, so let's have a look at that. What is 2044? So we see that it is an explorer, right? 2044 was running under 2012. What is 2012? Let's see. 2012. Can you say? I cannot point it out. Wait. Oh yeah. See 2044. Again, I found that under that particular parent 2044 under the Explorer, some PowerShell was running. So this should have raised actually some kind of suspicion. Okay. Then this is how you actually understand the processes while analyzing the memory dumps. This is just one example of using volatility. Okay. Now, if you do a net scan, the network scan on the network activity which was happening at that time. So what particular connection was established and what it was trying to do, like that. Okay. Oh, this is too much of a result. Wait, I'll just let me we'll look for a process ID, right? Let's look for 2044. I'll just grep it because it's not there visible in the screen. So I'll just grep it. Okay, let's do 2012. Hey, what was that? The process of PowerShell. Wait, let's scan. Let me do a PS scan again. Yeah, it's 496, right? Let's do a net scan on this particular process. I'll just grep it, this value from the results. Should be able to do that. No, maybe I have to just manually do it again. Okay, there's another PowerShell which was running, which is under 2752. Okay, I can see, you see TCP v4, the connection was closed, and then you can see again 2752 connection was closed to a remote host on port 80. Now, port 80 is for communicating with a web application, right? What PowerShell is actually doing in it? This should raise some concern. And then again, the thunderbird.ex is there. Okay, and you can see like this particular email client was being used to read that email. Okay, so this is how you can actually analyze traffic between source and port from a dump. Okay, and as part of an analysis, you can get access to the PCAP capture also, like from Wireshark and all that. And you can use Wireshark to analyze that. So let's do a file scan on this dump. Okay. But again, the result will be too big. Let me first check the command for that is file scan or something else. Yeah, it's file scan. So you can basically it's a pool scanner for file objects. Okay. What we are trying to do is we are trying to understand what user actually clicked when it's extracted. What was there inside it? Okay. So I'll do a file scan and we'll try to extract it. So maybe if we get some hits, then we should be able to extract it. Yeah, we can see that on hard disk volume 2, a user with the name of user on his desktop, some kind of a PDF and a link file was there. Okay. So now again, let's check the help to extract a file. Or maybe it's there in the history, maybe just once. No, it's not there. Okay. See, dump files, extract memory mapped and cached files. Okay. So we'll use volatility, giving the profile instead of using a file scan. We say dump files, and with the Q, we'll just give that address. Okay. Okay, we give a dump directory. See, I actually extracted it earlier. Okay. Maybe it will create the same, or it might override the same file. Yeah, see. So using this particular command by giving the address, okay, and the destination to the dump directory, you can actually dump the files from the memory to your local hard disk. So let's say now on this particular PC, I don't have a detection engine. Okay, so I'll just go on the internet You must have heard about a site called Virus Total. Okay, so we go to Virus Total and we choose this file. Okay, and we choose this dat file. Okay, which is like type is unknown, and we upload it. So see, so when I actually upload it on Virus Total, there are so many engines which have been able to detect its type. So some say that it is actually a Trojan which is pertaining to a PowerShell, and it is a link file. Okay, link agent. So McAfee says that it has a downloader also, right? So then you can also actually look at this file by doing a strings on it. I hope you were able to see this, like the result. Okay, you can actually check details on it. That what were its MD5 hashes, the SHA-1s, SHA-256. I'm letting you know like the activities that you might be interested in doing for doing an analysis on malware by using a software. Or by this is manual analysis. Okay, not it is not now all of these steps are coded and they become part of automation tools to happen automatically and sometimes on real time basis so that attacks can be stopped even before happening. Okay, and then okay, so let's say you got a task to actually look inside these files. So what will you do? Okay, on some small Linux, what you can do is you can do a string on this. Strings. Let's look inside this if we are able to. Maybe this file dot none 800 AC. Okay, so when I do a strings, I get some result. Okay, so I can see that someone was trying to use PowerShell. Okay, and there is some kind of a text that I cannot make sense of, but I think it's a base 64 encoded value. So somebody is trying to hide this particular text. So what you do is you'll just grab a copy, and then I'm going to give you another name of the another website called CyberChef. So on CyberChef, what you can do, you can make sense of these kind of encoded strings without using the commands on your PC. Okay. So you do go on CyberChef. So why we are doing this, we want to know like what was there inside the source code, what someone has written. Okay. So it looks like there's some garbage value that we are not able to understand. Why? So some kind of a recipe that probably we'll have to check it. Maybe Unicode or something. What was it? No. Okay, I think maybe I'm missing on some part. Let's check if there is some. So let's say if you get lost somewhere in between, you can actually, as part of these challenges, you can actually go on internet and check for a write-up. Okay. So here, this is the link from which I took help. So you can also go and read it. Yeah, this is some kind of a decoding which was done as a later step of it. Okay, so I'll just do that. So what we'll do is so we do base 64. Okay, and then we have UTF 16LE. Okay, then we need to check for this recipe. UTF. UTF. It's a normal recipe, like decode text recipe, and the encoding is UTF LE 16LE. Okay, so we get another kind of a similar input that we gave. Okay, so it's another step of actually decoding it. So we'll copy. And I'll paste it on the above box. Okay, maybe I have to remove this first line. Yeah, see, so this is another same step, another round, and then you get the code in a clear text. So someone is trying to use system management automation utils. Like this is some kind of a PowerShell script which someone has written, and it has specifically been crafted over a file. See login at a URL which is login and then process.php, right? So this way you can actually have a look at the source code itself, and then probably you can make use of this portion of the payload as part of another payload if you have created one. So for this particular class, we won't be having a separate lab session, so that's why I've covered both of them together. Okay, with the help of a tool. So this ends it.